and welcome back to Master Your Life, a show exclusively dedicated to uncovering the path to excellence through powerful stories of grit and determination. And I am so glad you've joined us. And welcome, fabulous Camille Robb. Nice to see you.
It's a blessing to be here. Oh my God, Kate. Woo-hoo. I cannot wait. We're going to have so much fun.
We are. So just a little bit about you, just a quick little bio. Fabulous Camille Robb is the CEO of Just Fabulous Care Corporation. She is a mentor, a teacher, a global speaker, a guardian, an entrepreneur, an investor, and most recently, a best-selling author. So welcome to the show. I'm deeply grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
This is wonderful. So we're talking today. We have a whole bunch of things to cover, but I am so curious about the picture that's behind you. And for just listeners out there, there is a picture of Camille in the midst of some beautiful children surrounding her, and your expression of peace and love and receiving around these beautiful babies. Can you talk to us a little bit about your heart work?
Oh, those are my babies. Oh my God. So for the past 5 years, I've been taking care of the children you see in the picture in the background, sending them to school, providing a place for them to lay their head, and providing food for them. And just learning how to love unconditionally. And they'll teach you that, these children right here.
And where are these children? And how did you choose these babies?
They chose me.
You.
They chose me. So yeah. I have an exchange student program. So I have students that I've taken in from all over the world. So this particular one, these students are from Congo. And I had a student with me that I was helping taking care of. And she said, I have a family I want to introduce you to. And next thing I know, I inherit over probably about 20-something children. But it's absolutely fabulous, though. These children are like little angels, you know? I mean, if you hear them sing, it makes your heart just melt, you know? You feel the light that's in them, the vibration, the energy that they bring just from them singing, you know? I love them. They're my babies.
So what about Congo? Like, it's so interesting. What have you learned about Congo?
So one of the things that I've learned about Congo is that, especially when it comes to the children, they might not have a whole lot, but they're so peaceful and happy and loving. They give more than you expect. You know, I remember the first time when I arrived in Congo and they meet me at the airport, I thought I was a celebrity. There was people out there shouting my name and was exciting. But the best part about it, Kate, is when they picked me up from the hotel and I wanted to go meet the children. And I walked up into this alley and the music was playing and they were singing. And then all of a sudden the band stopped playing and all you heard was the children's voice. And they all turned around. And when they turned around, Kate, they all had my face on their shirt. And the voice was like music. So I started crying because I couldn't understand why they were doing that, because I've always just do stuff. I never gotten this close to anybody that I helped.
Wow. Can you say that again?
I've never gotten close to anybody that I've helped before. I send money, I see them on video, and that's it. So I know that it was done. But actually going into the country, going into the village, going and seeing them and hearing them sing. And when one of them, they practice, they speak French. So when they came to me, one of them said, Mom, can I hug you? That stopped everything in me because I made a difference in their lives. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I'm crying. I mentioned this to you briefly that I also had taken my children to Haiti, and it's beautiful to be able to see it and be in it. And then to witness the humility that my children felt in the light of the children that had nothing and they had everything. Yes. Was something I'll never forget. And all the lessons that we think we want to teach our children about be respectful, be kind, those are words until you see your own children see it in action.
Yes.
And it literally is just words. And my children's souls were forever imprinted. My son, Will, and there was this picture of him and these two other beautiful little babies. And he looked at the picture and he was like really quiet. I'm like, Will, what is it, dude? And he points at one of the boys and he goes, that boy right there, he didn't even know my name and he loved me. And he didn't even know who I was.
And that's what you get.
Yes.
That's what you get. That's that unconditional love. I remember someone had questioned me, how can you love them like that? They're not your child. I said, you don't have to have a child to give love.
No.
They make you love them. They make you love them, you know?
Can you talk a little bit about what that is? Like, what is that experience that you want people to know? Because I think that we have so much condition on love and so many barriers of fear around love. And to experience it can be frightening. Yes, to be in that place of vulnerability, of reception. Yes?
Yes. Not only that, but before this all started, it was just a conversation. I was just having conversation. You know, when my student said, the first time she came to me, she said, Miss Camille, I have a student that needs your help. And I'm like, how can I help? And she said, he's very smart. He lost his mom, he lost his dad, but he wants to go to school. And I said to her, okay, how can I help him? She said, I don't know, but he wants to go to school. I said, okay. And my husband said, okay, we'll send him to school. Just like that. My husband has always said, and then he looked at me and said, how are we going to do that, babe? And I look at him, I'm like, always jumping and saying yes. And then you're looking at me, asking me how we're going to do this. And I'm telling you, this is how amazing God is. When she told me that, my sister Tina called me and she said, sis, where are you? I said, I'm home. She said, which home? I said, I'm in the garden. And she said, okay, I'm coming over there. I have something for you. I said, okay, no problem. So she came over. She gave me a check for exactly the amount of money I needed to send the check. And the first thing come out of my sister's mouth, he said, you better not go spending this on anybody. I need you to go buy something because you're always trying to save the world. That's what my sister said.
Wow.
And I looked away and she said, holy crap. What is it? What is it? I said, I have a student that need to go to school and he need a place to stay. And this is exactly what I asked for. And God sent it to me. She rolls her eyes. She said, you know what? I'm done with you. And she walked away from me. I immediately, the next day, put the money in the account and I sent it to them to send it. It was perfect. It was perfect. I'm telling you, when God works, he works. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to tell him what I need. I ask and you shall receive. And that's how it started. After that, it was like a ripple effect. All the other children were taken care of. My husband worked. I worked. We take our money. We send. We don't have anybody that come and say, oh, here go this money and don't. No, we work. We hustle. We take care of what we need. And we make sure we take care of these children. But the blessing that comes from it, my student, he graduated with honors. One of the highest kids in the class. All of my students are A students. That's the part, just by me just helping one person. All it takes is just one. The love is unconditional. They love you regardless. I mean, when I saw these children and for them to stand there and they were singing because that's how they show love. You can't buy that. You can't buy that.
And so what about for you as a lesson of receiving? Because obviously you're a woman that does, that helps, that provides, that is looking in, and, as we even spoke of, being a servant leader, that is the place where you find the greatest joy. But what was the lesson for you in receiving that unconditional love for you, Camille?
So for me, receiving that unconditional love was priceless. When I heard them, and especially when they were talking to me, I know that they practiced that. They practiced to talk to me because their language isn't English, it's French. So when I heard it, it was like everything in me came alive. everything in me came alive. I don't care what you had said to me or whatever you did to me. Right there, I was at peace.
Mm.
Those children showed you respect. I mean, with me walking, I had one on the right, one on the left, one in front of me and one behind me. At first, I was hesitant because I was like, why are you guys doing this? And then they explained to me because of the danger that I'm walking into. But me, I don't see the danger. They see the danger. I'm just there for all the love I can get. And the way how they move, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you. The respect is like, we don't see that here.
No. Mm-mm. So what was that like for you with having that amount of, may I call it, protection around you? What was your process of receiving that level of love and protection, Camille?
So at first I was like, hey, I don't need all this. I don't need all this. But after it was explained to me how they show their love and respect, my heart, I was like, okay, I felt like a little celebrant. I was like, yeah, baby, go ahead, protect me. And
Exactly.
I even said it to my husband. I said, you believe this? And he's like, that's what I'm talking about. I don't have to worry about my wife. You always
Wow.
going into, that's what he said. He said, that's what I'm talking about. I don't have to worry about my wife. You're always going into some hole. He'd say that. You're always
Right.
going into some hole. But you know what? An example, what happened? I was walking, going to see where my son was staying at. So he wanted me to see his little apartment, his little room. So I went in there and he was looking around. On my way out, I wasn't paying attention to where I was walking. I was just videotaping and I stepped down. So if my foot had went into that hole, I probably have broken my ankle. My leg did not touch the ground. My legs were going like this. It kind of scared me at first. My leg was like this and I'm not touching the ground. I'm like, woo! And then my son in front of me, he turned around. He said, Mom, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. He said, are you hurt? I'm like, no. He said, Dad said, I must make sure nothing happened to you. Okay.
Mm.
And then they placed me back on the ground. I was like, and of course, come out of my mouth, I'm not going to break, you know that, right? I'm not a doll. I'm not going to break. I'm pretty tough. And he said, you don't have to be tough, Mom. We just want to make sure you're okay. I'm like, yes.
Mm. Oh my gosh. So what do you want? Just, this is so powerful because I can see the joy and I can see how this was like an awakening or a different place of you of being loved and receiving in a different way.
Yes.
And I'm just so curious, what do you want people to know about that? What do you want people to know?
That you don't have to have a child to love a child. You don't have to be this, for me, the experience, I couldn't pay for that experience. That experience was priceless. Feeling, touching, and listening and hearing these children was a gold mine to me. And this is what happened when you work from your heart and not your fingertip. Because a lot of people, they work from their fingertip. They do. It has nothing to do with heartfelt. They made me feel like nothing else mattered but me. They put me into a place where I was like, I'm still, every time I think about it, I get emotional. But at the same time, I felt the love. I had a child that was born that was named after me. And I'm like, me? Yes, me. Why? Because the love that I gave, the love that I'm still giving, it's not because I'm taking care of the kids to go to the school. No, it's because of the natural love, the motherly love that I gave without hesitating, without asking. And I want people to know that you can do that too. We need to get out of our own way, get out of our own space, and be an advocate for somebody else. Be a vessel for another person. Be a leader for another person. Show other people that it can be done. Don't wait for the next person to do it. Each one, teach one. I'm trying to teach people how to help the next person without hesitating. It's not always about you.
That's so good. Helping without hesitation. It's so crazy how that is. So were you always this way as far as wanting to serve? Like, what were you like as a child? I'm just so curious about that.
So for me as a child, I was loved. My grandmother, oh my God, my grandmother was an angel on earth. She would do every and anything for me because, of course, my mother, she loves me, but she was a young mother. My father was young, so they had no business having children. So they wasn't ready for children yet.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I showed up. So my grandmother, when she found out my mother was pregnant with me, she took my mother in and she said, "This is it." So my grandmother told me that when I was born, I had this big old smile on my face. And she said, "This is going to be a fabulous child. This child is going to put a light in this world whenever she smiles." And when she told me that, I was about 14. I think I was about 14 when she told me that. And I was like, whatever, she's old.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's old, She said, "I knew you when you were in your mom's tummy. I knew who you are and what you're going to be." And I'm like, okay. Hey, I'm a teenager. I'm like,
Right.
growing up with my grandmother, there was like over 100 kids in the house. I thought I had brothers and sisters. Come to find I only had 2 brothers because she's always cooking and people are always
Wow.
coming into the house. And she's always giving stuff, food, clothes. People will come, I need somewhere to sleep. She'll make a cot and put them down. And next thing you know, they're there for 3, 4, 5 months. And I'm like, why are these people here? She's always said to me, "Always remember, it's not about you. It's about making a difference in the next person's life." He said, what you do for the next person, God will continue blessing you. And I was like, teenager, when she was saying that, I was like, okay. It hit me hard when I came into this country because I'm originally from Jamaica. It hit me real hard when I came into this country and I start working. That's when it hit me. And everything that my grandmother was telling me and teaching me came back to me.
So why was that once you came here? Because you think there was some perspective, like being away from your culture, or what was it about that for you?
So food, when I was with my grandmother, food was something that we have it because we had a garden, we could go and eat with no. But when I was with my mother, she didn't know anything about nourishing and, she was young, she was a kid,
Right.
So I had to figure it out. I had to figure out where my food was coming from. I had to figure out where my brother's food was coming from. I had to figure that out. It was my job to take care of them. When I came in this country, I saw the same thing when I started working at this daycare. The same issue is that these little guys, they come in and they were always angry and crying. And I'm like, what is wrong with this picture? And then I start rewinding back when I was a little girl. My brothers, they used to do the same thing until I fed them. So when I get paid on Thursday, I would go to the store. I'll go to Walmart and I would buy little fruits and I would cut it up and put it in bags. And then I would set it up. So on Friday, when they come in on Friday, I have 2 bags, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. The green was for Saturday and the orange was for Sunday. And I set it up that way so the parents wouldn't feel any way about it. Because when the kids come into the classroom, they talk. When we have conversation, they tell you that they didn't get any breakfast, they didn't have any dinner, and they'll get noodles for dinner and they'll get a hot dog. Stuff that have no form of nutrition to the kid. So I used to put inside of those bags, I used to get a little brown paper bag and in it, I'll put their name on it and then say, okay, this is the work for today. And this is what you have to do. And nobody knew any difference. They would have it to eat. They'll have apples, they'll have grapes, they'll have crackers, they'll have a sandwich in it. So everything had a date on it. So it not only was teaching them colors, it was teaching them the days of the week, and we're teaching them how to nourish their whole self. They had milk in it that wouldn't expire. So it didn't need refrigeration. You just have to just put the straw in and it teach them hand-hand coordination. So everything I was doing, it was teaching them. But the best part about it is when they come in on Monday, in my little lunchbox, I had little pancakes with little sauce. So we made little miniature sandwiches. And that's the first thing we did after we wash our hands. I fed my kids, and when they sat down, the supervisor would come into my room, and she's like looking sideways at me. I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "Why are your kids just sitting there like that?" I'm looking at her. I wasn't going to tell her that I was feeding those kids because it was against the rules.
Yes. Can you imagine nourishing the bellies and the souls of these babies was against the rules?
Yeah, it was against the rules. And I was like, are you kidding me? The first time I got caught, they say it was against the rule. So I told the children, I said, we have to do this first thing in the morning when you come in. You wash your hand, take a seat, and we're going to make sure we grace our food and we're going to eat. And they wouldn't tell anybody. They wouldn't even tell their friends that it was happening because it was our secret.
Right.
We had a secret picnic, a secret. Wow. Nobody could know about it. But the rest of the day, I didn't have any problem out of that because they were fed.
It's just so powerful. It's such a powerful image and so symbolic. Have you picked up your copy of my best-selling book, Claim Your Inner Badass? Available on Amazon now. Go grab your copy. It really, really is powerful. So when you came from Jamaica, and then this was what all of the teachings came back to you from your grandmother.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden you put the shoes on and were walking the teachings in some way. Yeah.
Yes. I was going through it. So I was in my own place. I was in my own place at when I turned 19, I got my own place. I was in my own place. So a lot of time I wasn't able to eat because I was making sure they were eating, you know, because I only was making enough to take care of me at the time. I didn't have anybody else to help take care of me. So, but the power of it is that to this day, I have some of those same children that have their own children and they're teaching. To this day, I have that. I have kids. I remember when I started my daycare, I did the same thing in my daycare when I started my daycare in 2000. And I did the same exact thing. I nourished these kids. My kids were eating 6 times a day.
I remember this is so funny because I'm the same way. Like I'm one of 9 kids and like food has always been a thing. And I remember my kids would go to a sleepover and I'd bring a couple bags of groceries and the other parents would be like, why are you bringing food? I said, you don't know my kids.
Exactly.
They eat a lot. And then they'd be like, and the next day I'd pick them up and they're like, dang, girl, your kids really do eat a lot. But it's just, and I would give them a hot meal when they got off the bus. And all my friends would be like, Katie, why are you doing that? You're spoiling them. I'm like, they've been at school all day. They eat a warm meal. I never regret that ever.
That's what I did. I did the same thing. I did the same thing. When my kids came in the daycare, they had breakfast. After breakfast, they had their snack. After snack, they had a big lunch because that's the part that works the best because then after that, they go take a nap.
Yeah.
I used to love that part. Lunch, we go out, we go out and play. We come back in, we wash up. Everybody wash up, everybody change out into clean clothes. They get their lunch and that's it. Murder, she wrote.
The best sleepers in the whole school.
I remember when they came in and inspect my room because they do home inspection and the professor came in and she was doing an evaluation and she said, how the heck do you have all these children asleep? I look at her. I say, you love them, you play with them, you feed them, and that's it. And she looked at me. She said, I don't know how you do it. You sure you're not giving them anything? I said, nothing but big food to full belly so they could sleep. During the week, I had no problem with my children. No problem at all.
No, I love that. I love that I know now, like with your name, Fabulous Camille, that is really an imprint from the wisdom that your grandmother had even before you were born.
Yes.
I mean, how powerful is that she felt the source even then, right? It's such a beautiful, honoring way that you live in this message of your grandmother claiming that name of Fabulous. It's just beautiful.
And I was afraid to use that name because I thought at first it was like, it's a little bit much, fabulous. And then it tell you fabulous is joy, peace, excitement, vibrant and all that. I said, yeah, that's all me, but and my grandmother said, it's you. It's you. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me use my name.
Yeah, you're like, I'm good with that.
They're going to talk about me anyway. So
they are. Might as well give them a good reason.
That's what my grandmother said.
Right. And so you actually named your company Just Fabulous Care. So can you talk a little bit about your company? And I also definitely want to talk about your nonprofit, but if you could just give us a little background on your company, that would be awesome.
So Just Fabulous Care started with the concept of my daughter. My daughter had gotten the opportunity to go to Europe as a student ambassador. So she just turned 12 years old. She was on her way to Europe to just learn what it's like to live with another family. And I said to her, I said, go, learn, and then you come back and share. Because prior to that, we were doing it for the church. We had exchange students that come in and they stayed with us and we were doing it for free. I was doing this for free. I did it for free for 5 years and didn't know any better. And when she came back, my daughter was totally a different person.
Where did she go?
She went to Spain. She went to, she was in Madrid. She was all over Europe. Scared the life out of me because at the time we weren't able to talk to her. Now it's different. They allow you to talk to your children. Before you weren't allowed to talk. So for two weeks, I didn't hear from her. I almost lost my mind, but the teachers then kept in touch with me. So I wouldn't, but when she came back, she's like, Mom, you need to do this the real way. And she was telling me about how the parents took care of her. And these people didn't have any children. She said, Mom, they taught me how to cook pasta, the Italian way, the right way. They had the right stuff. They washed my clothes for me and take care of me. I'm like, wait a minute, really? They messed me up. And she's like, no, Mom, they show me a lot of different stuff. I was blown away. Then after that, it was on. It's like she opened that door for this business to start thriving. So right now I have students from Brazil, China, Japan, I have Congo, I have Peru, I have Brazil, I have Saudi Arabia, I have Dubai, I have Kuwait, I have Germany. So I have students from all over the world that parents send them to me for them to learn about our culture, learn English, and live a little bit of the American lifestyle.
That is so cool. What an amazing concept. Absolutely amazing. So, and it's really is what I love what you've done is it's such an assimilation of you with the nonprofit, right? Oftentimes people have their company and their work, and then their heart work is something very different. So how have you been able to integrate those two? I mean, it seems like maybe it was pretty organic just because of the passion.
Yeah, it was, because then what I've done with Just Fabulous Care is that the money that I make from Just Fabulous Care, after I take care of all the bills that I have to take care of, I was able to use it to help me to fund different students. And when I started out, 12 years ago, I partnered with a company called ACN, All Communication Network. It's just an acronym, it's just ACN. And what they have allowed me to do is build a lifetime residual income. So the money that I make from them, that filter into JFC for You, which is my nonprofit. And that helped me to send the kids them to school, make sure they have food, make sure they have uniform, make sure they have books, make sure they have whatever they need to get that education. That company have helped me. It's just amazing how everything just come together. Just imagine, for every service that I have in my home that I pay for, the company send me a check, and I take that check and put it here to send this child to school. I take it here and I go and I purchase food for my food pantry, because we have a food pantry too. We can talk about that later. And we use it to feed hundreds of people that come to the pantry. It's just the way how everything you're right. Everything just come together. I never looked at it.
It's like a beautiful feast.
Yes.
You've created a most magnificent feast.
Yes.
Filling bellies and souls and hearts. So I'm going to ask you, because this podcast is really on the path to mastery. And as we know, the mastery pathway or success is paved in a multitude of failures. And do you have a favorite failure you'd like to share with the audience? And I just love this question. I'm so curious on what that would be for you.
So I have a few failures that happened to me, but I've learned from it. The first one is like when COVID hit. Oh my God, because my main income was my students. So country shut down, you have nothing coming in at all, no money for 3 years. When you step back and you look at it, although there was no money coming in, all of my bills were paid, things were still going. So when people say failure, I see it as I don't see it so much as a failure. It's something that I've learned. Always have multiple stream of income coming in. Always have multiple stream of income coming in. Although my company was shut down, ACN still send me a check every month because people were still paying their bills. And every time they pay their bills, I was still receiving a check. And I was still able to pay all my bills, plus still provide the need for those children. Wow. I never really thought about it that way. Wow, okay. God is so good. God is so good.
What did you learn about yourself about that? Maybe about trust or faith, or because I think a lot of people really lost their sense of self, their identity, their hope, and we're still living in that now, right?
Yeah, I had a few colleagues that I had one of them particular we talked a lot, and I found out that they took their life because they didn't want to deal with it anymore. So for me, what I learned about that situation is that there's not, I can do anything. I can do anything. All I have to do is just make up my mind and I can do it. Having multiple stream of income is very critical to your life, especially now. You cannot just base yourself on one income. You cannot. Having the power and the faith to move forward after losing everything, knowing that you're down, but you can get back up and continue moving forward. And at the same time, you moving forward, you continue helping the next person to move forward too. So it's a learning curve. That was a learning curve for me, because my husband looking at me like, okay, what are we going to do? Real estate shut down. His field shut down. My whole company shut down. But with my faith and having that residual income, I was taken care of. And my children were all taken care of. They never missed school. The ones that were able to go to school, they never missed school. Money was still going to them to take care of them. They still were able to eat.
So thank you. That's really powerful. When we think about, because I'm going to use actually that word, when we think, I want to do more, right? But I don't even know where to start. This is where a lot of people are stuck. They'll hear your story. They'll be moved by your story. And yet they won't take action. Now, it's not just because they're afraid or they don't know what steps to take. So what are the steps? What is the ways that people can actually put the shoes on and walk in that faith and in that service and in that commitment and in that passion and in that heart to live and reach that sense of mastery and fulfillment and why we are here. We're all called here for a unique reason. And I love that you said that whole thing about, your life is going to knock you down, right? And it's like Les Brown says, my favorite guy, when life knocks you down, make sure you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. So what would be the steps that you would advise someone to walk into their faith and take action in service?
So for me, one of the things you just said, if you can look up, you can get up. My grandmother used to say that to me all the time. Mm. She always said that to me. She said, life is not perfect. You're going to have all kinds of hurdles, all kind of byways and highways you have to travel. But you have to always remember, if it's to be, it's up to you. If it's to be, it's up to me. Once I am down, whether it's on my back or on my face, I will rise up, because as long as I can push up, I can get up. Yeah. As long as I can look up, I can get up. And as long as you can get up and know that you can do this, the faith you have in you, when God made us, he made all of us very unique. Very unique. There is not one person that is the same. Not one. And when he plant that faith in you, it's up to you. We all have that God within us. Getting up, standing up, moving forward is one of the most powerful things. But you don't know until it happened. The roller coaster ride, my grandmother said, we all have to go on a roller coaster ride. Just remember, don't try to jump off while you're on the coast, because you'll not make it. Mm-hmm. She said, all you have to do is put that bar down, and when it goes up, you scream going up, thank you, thank you, thank you. When you're going down, you scream going down, thank you, thank you, thank you. You just hold on and ride. Just hold on and ride. Always moving forward. Stay focused, always moving forward.
How would you suggest that people tap into that passion? Because, we talked about this briefly, but so few people, when you think about it, even statistically, that they say that only 10% of people even spent a daily practice of personal development and spiritual development in our culture. That's 10%, 90% aren't living in their passion or purpose. Wow, right? What would be your recommendation for people if you were to give people like a couple action items to tap in?
So tapping in, number one, you have to learn how to love yourself. That's number one. You have to learn how to love yourself and go within yourself. When everything is going crazy around me, my grandmother have taught me how to sit, close your eyes, and shut out the world. Because she said, if you don't know how to do that, you'll go crazy. And trust me, there was one point in my life I almost went crazy because I was trying to do all of it. I was trying, like you said, how can I do more? How can I do more? All you have to do is learn how to love you first. And of course, I'm in love with me, honey. I don't care how you feel about yourself. I love me. Then I go within so I can talk to God and find that peace. And then you just do it. I don't wait for anybody to do anything. I don't wait. And there's a reason why I don't wait, because if I wait, this child will not be fed. If I wait, this child will not go to school. If I wait on the next person, I'll help you. I'll help you when you have a 501c3. Okay. If I waited, I've been doing this for over 25 years. If I've waited, there'll be a lot of children that don't have a meal. There'll be a lot of children that don't go to school. Why? Because I'm waiting on the next person. No, you have to just get up and do it. And it doesn't take a lot. People think it takes a lot. It doesn't take a lot. Simple. Let me tell you how simple it is. The company that I partnered up with 12 years ago, every time I pay my cell phone bill, they feed a child. Every time I pay my internet bill, they feed a child. Every time my mom pay her gas and electricity in Connecticut, they feed a child. Every time I protect another person, they feed a child. It's simple. Not only they feed a child, but they send me a check on top of that, so I can use that check to physically do what I need to do. So it doesn't take a lot. People think, oh, I have to have a, no, you don't. Your simple bills that you pay at home can provide a meal for a child. But people they won't do it, Kate. You know why? Because they're waiting on the next person to do it.
It's that's also a common statistic, is that in general, we think people are far more committed to leadership than they are. People are waiting to be led. And so in what ways do you feel you're called here to lead, to bring people to that place of action? What is that call for you?
So for me, that call is providing for families. I always tell my husband, my job is to feed the need. And he always asks, feed, what are you talking about? I say it's to feed the need. He always said that. What are you talking about? What is the need? I said, if a child needs to go to school, I need to provide it. If a child needs to get a meal, I need to provide it. If a parent needs help to understand their child, I need to provide it. I provide the need. Simple. Whatever the need may be, I provide it. Sometimes it's not easy, Kate. Sometimes it's crazy, but I step out of my own way and I do it. I don't wait. People are waiting and waiting and waiting. So for me, that's what I do. That's my job. My job is to provide. I'm a vessel.
100%. Right. And it's like taking action and waiting for others. That's a very slow spiral to inaction and lack of fulfillment. I read this article years ago and it always stuck with me. And I actually do ask this even to my clients, my high performance clients, but it was this article about motivating your teenager. And it said, you want to find out where your child's passion is? Ask them what pisses them off. Go into what pisses them off and fires them up. And I say, do the same for adults.
Yes.
Anyone who's listening right now, reviewing this podcast, what pisses you off in this world, or what makes your heart pull? Where is your longing? Face the longing. Own the longing. Sit in the longing. And then put on those shoes, get up or push up, and do the walk to fulfill that. Because that is the place where your heart is fueled, is where you are here to serve. Pay attention to the longing.
You hit it right there, because a lot of people don't pay attention to it. You know, even in my neighborhood, you have people, I have an elderly couple across the street from me. They're there by themselves. And my husband would take stuff from the garden whenever he go out there and reap. He'll go and he'll go over there and feed them. And he'll go up the street, he'll feed another family, and he'll send me stuff and I'll go and take it somewhere. See, people don't do that anymore. You'll have a child next door to you that's been abused, and they don't even know about it. All they know, next thing you know, it's on the news and they see the ambulance and the truck and oh my God, did you know that that child was being tortured? And no, because everybody is about this right here. This is my world. I'm not worried about the next person. I'm not worried about the next person. No. You never know who God's going to put in your path. You never know.
And be open to feel. Because if we're so closed off on suffering, how are we going to be called to serve if we don't even feel our own suffering? Like, we have to feel it. You know, it's like that was so particularly paramount to me when my son passed away in 2017. And I'm like, I'm going to feel this. I'm going to show people that I'm feeling it.
Yes.
I'm going to feel all parts of it. And I'm also going to move through it with God's support. I wasn't afraid. because I knew my servant leadership called me to do grief differently, even though this is a person that lived enthusiastically and positively in life. Kate, the master motivator, how's she going to deal with this now? And you know what else the one was doing?
Waiting.
And I said, watch me. Watch me do it different.
Yes.
Face smeared with mascara, like the whole thing, because I'm here to lead people to their heart and to their healing. I'm here to lead my 2 children that remain and are living to live in their highest and best. So if I curled up in a ball, what kind of model is that? And how is that honoring my son's brilliant life? It isn't.
Exactly.
It's a dishonoring. So, wow. So I would love it if you could just share. I'm just so grateful for this time. This has been so inspirational to me. And I'm just taking notes about all the actions that I'm taking. I'm not even going to say I am going to take. I am taking after speaking to you. I'm deeply grateful for your inspiration, your motivation, your heart, and your transformative spirit that you bring to the world. I'm just deeply grateful for you in this time. I really, really am. So how can people find you, fabulous Camille? Where can people find you and support you on this incredible journey that we're all on together?
Well, I'm on all major social media. So if you want to find me on Facebook, you could find me at Fabulous Camille Robb. You could find if you just hit Fabulous Camille, this blonde haired chick would show up.
Love it.
And people want to know, oh, can I call you? Yes, you could call me. Don't be afraid. Don't email me, call me. So you could call me at 407-473-1832. Let's have a conversation. Never know. My website is there. You could visit me at my website, justfabulouscare.com. Send me a message there. You could visit my nonprofit, jfc4u.com. Just let's connect. Let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can help each other.
So incredible. And all of this, the contact information will be in the show notes. So Camille, thank you. I'm just very, very grateful, as I said. And if you had a billboard in let's just say Times Square, what would you want that billboard to say, or what do you want people to know?
So putting that information on the billboard, it have to leave an impact. And the impact was what? Each one, teach one. I cannot feed everyone in the world, but everyone can feed someone. And all you have to do is just do it. Simple. Just do it.
Yeah. Nike had it right. And and we can apply that in all of our paths, our faith path and our heart path and our soul path and our work path, that the success is in the doing. And,
it is.
Yeah, it really truly is. I'm deeply grateful, and thank you. And thank you to all the viewers and listeners of Master Your Life. I am deeply grateful for this time together. And today, just go do it. Stay in action. You have greatness within you, and that greatness is to be shared. Take good care. Hi, this is Kate McKay. If you're interested in booking a strategy call with Kate McKay, please reach out to us at kate@kate-mckay.com. I look forward to speaking to you soon.